So do you guys remember these programs that used to pop up on store shelves all the time back in the late 2000s? This one was bought for $70 from CompUSA back when they were still a thing. And it allowed you to easily migrate all of your data to a new XP or Vista machine using nothing but a USB cable. Now, for some reason, I was really intrigued with this type of software back then, but I never got a chance to actually try it. So today, I guess we're going to be fulfilling the lamest dream that I've ever had by seeing what this thing can do. Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. So I gotta give a huge thanks to a viewer out there for sending me this copy of Transfer Your PC Deluxe version 2.0 from Nova Development, which apparently has everything you need inside to get this whole transfer process going. So in addition to the USB cable, we also have a quick start card, a user's guide, a registration card, as well as 2 CDs, one of which contains the actual transfer software, as well as a drive cleanser for wiping the old PC's hard drive, so if you want to sell that computer or donate it or whatever, you'll be able to get all your data off of it before doing so. Now we're going to take a look at this software maybe towards the end of this video, but the majority of this episode is going to focus on the actual transfer software itself, which is compatible with Windows 95 or later, as it says on the side of the box. Except not entirely, because if you were running either Windows 95 or 98 First Edition, you couldn't use the USB cable to transfer all your files to your new PC. You would have to do that over the network, which is supported, and I did think about setting that up, but I decided to go ahead and just use the USB cable instead with a newer version of Windows, because it is very heavily mentioned on the box here and seems to be the preferred way that this company would rather have you do this. So what we're going to be doing is using the 98 PC running Windows 98 Second Edition and trying to transfer everything on that over to the 2000s Mystery PC running Windows Vista. And the funny thing about that is, even though this USB cable supports high-speed transfer, probably just meaning USB 2.0, we're going to be limited to USB 1.1 speeds because that's all the 98 PC supports. So this is just going to be fantastic and probably take a significant amount of time, but at least we'll be able to figure out if this software would have been worth it back then, or if it would have just been easier to yank the drive out of your old computer and plug it into your new one as a secondary. I'm sure we already know the answer to that, but let's do this anyway. Right after a quick word from today's video sponsor, Ugreen, whose DH4300 Plus provides the easiest NAS experience there is. It's like cloud storage, but hosted by you, so that you're fully in control of your data, you don't have to deal with ever-increasing subscription costs, and it's really simple to set up. It took me, the guy who spent half an hour trying to reset a password on Linux one time, only a few minutes to get this thing hooked up on my network. You plug it in, power it on, go to any old web browser, or use your mobile device via NFC, and you'll be up and running in no time. Of course, you'll also need to have some hard drives to pop into this thing, and thankfully Ugreen supports a wide range of them for a total of up to 120 terabytes of storage, which is more than you'll ever need. I'm sure that won't age poorly. And thanks to its 2.5 gigabit Ethernet port, the transfer speeds are really fast. I mean, it takes literal seconds to move a 1 gigabyte file off this thing, which you can do from anywhere via Ugreen Link. You're able to customize access permissions so that other users can only view and modify the files you want them to. And it comes with some nice extras like their smart album feature for automatically tagging photos to make them more easily searchable. So be sure to click the link below and use the coupon code in the description to get 15% off on the most beginner-friendly NAS there is. And huge thanks again to Ugreen for making this video possible. Alright, so I've got the installation disk in the old computer's drive, and we're going to look at the quick start card here throughout this just to make sure that we're doing everything in the correct order if that matters. One thing that I did notice here is under the choose a connection thing, apparently you could use a parallel cable if you wanted to instead of the USB or the network transfer method, and it does mention if you have Windows 95 you may want to go with this since the USB transfer is not supported, and depending on how old your system system is, you may not even have a USB port on it anyways. So yeah, that's neat. So here's the preparing your old computer. It tells us to close applications. It wants you to run ScanDisk and run a virus scan, all this stuff. We're not really going to bother doing any of that. We're just going to go to, yeah, install transfer your PC. So put the CD in the drive and install it. So, yeah, I guess I'm kind of disobeying the instructions I said I was just going to follow, but that's just kind of how we do things around here. You've probably figured that out by now. So, yeah, we'll get this program installed, and it tells us not to connect this USB cable until we are prompted to. So I still have it right here, and we will wait for it to tell us to plug it in. That I will follow. So it looks like a basic install shield wizard, nothing super fancy. We got your license agreement. It says to maximize system compatibility, transfer your PC may not transfer certain system settings. This may affect system utilities such as antivirus or anti-spyware. You may need to reinstall those. Okay, so it's not going to transfer everything. You cannot select individual programs and settings to migrate. What? Really? You can't, like, you can't choose things individually, or is that just for programs? Because I was thinking, you know, it was going to, like, give you a list of here's all the stuff that we can transfer. What do you want to pick? But I guess for certain things, it won't let you do that, or it may not let you do that at all. Okay, moving right along. Looks like we have to put in probably a country here. Let's just put in the USA, and that does allow us to hit next. You don't have to put in a company name, which is great, I guess. So, okay, we'll install, and there we go. There is a serial code on the back of this envelope here, so we'll have to enter that in at some point, I would imagine. And it tells us right here, it is okay to plug in your USB cable now, but I want to make sure, can we plug it into the other computer? It looks like in here, the connect your cable step is after preparing your new computer, so I guess we're just gonna wait on that for now. Well, we'll launch the transfer your PC software. Now here's something of note, this version does not work on 64-bit operating systems. That's pretty major. I mean, if you bought a new Vista computer, it very well could have been 64-bit, and if you bought this software thinking you were going to be able to transfer all your stuff over to it, I guess you would have been out of luck. Does it mention that on the box anywhere? I didn't see that. Like over here, it just says system requirements, Windows 95, 98, and Me 2000 XP Vista. It doesn't say 32-bit. Yeah, I don't see anything on here about that. There is a 30-day money-back guarantee, though, so I guess you could, if you bought this and then it didn't work with your new system, you could just take it back and get a refund. There's also a $10 rebate, by the way. I forgot to mention this earlier, so it would have cost you $60, depending on if you could actually get that. I'm gonna have to investigate this, but that's like, if this really doesn't work on a 64-bit operating system, even with just the built-in Windows compatibility layer for running 32-bit stuff, that's a major problem. It also says down here that apparently there's a free trial version that doesn't require a serial number, but it doesn't say how it's limited. I'm guessing that it only lets you transfer some things, and then it looks like down here you could undo a migration. So maybe we'll try that out later as well. So here's a whole bunch of stuff here. Important. While most applications and files will move without issue, please note the following. Some applications may not be compatible with the new operating system, like this software itself, apparently. Music files with copyright protection may not play without transferring licenses. Okay. Some software with special copyright protection may need to be reinstalled or reactivated. Yeah. You should remove trial software on the new computer if a full version is on the old computer. Okay. You should remove older versions of software on the old computer that already exists on the new computer. Antivirus, anti-spyware, and hardware drivers will not be moved. Okay. You cannot select individual program and settings to migrate, which we did see that before, and I still just find that so bizarre. So you can't individually select certain programs and settings. I have read and understand. Which computer is this? It's the old one, but we have to prepare that one second. Oh yeah, and by the way, I don't think I mentioned it, but I have these computers hooked up on a KVM switch, so we can just easily swap back and forth, which will be very useful. Oh, and we got a Windows security cannot verify the publisher of this driver software. We're going to install that anyway. That would probably also scare some people. Here it is again. Isn't it great how they don't tell you what driver it is that you're installing? Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks, Microsoft. And yeah, we'll launch transfer your PC, and I guess I'll go ahead and plug this cable in, since it did say it's okay to plug it in now on both systems. Alright, it's in. It installed the driver software for the LapLink USB 1.1 silver prolific cable. So, is this not even USB 2.0? I mean, I guess it doesn't have to be, because, you know, the older Windows 95 and 98 machines would probably not have USB 2.0 at all, but it does say high-speed data transfer. But usually, you know, if something is USB 2.0, it would say 2.0 on it. So this looks like it's USB 1.1 anyways. Windows Firewall has blocked some features of this program. That's probably for the network stuff. We're going to unblock that. And then here's the wizard once again. So we'll say next. We've read and understood. This is the new computer, and we're going to transfer over USB cable. You also have using files, which I'm guessing you could, okay, yeah, just make a snapshot and then move that over to the new system. So yeah, you even have a fourth way, which it doesn't talk about in here anyways. So yeah, okay, so we're just gonna do USB cable. Ready to start USB transfer. It will now perform the entire move. This could take from several minutes to hours depending on how much is being moved. Select next to proceed and then go to the old computer and run transfer your PC. You will control the rest of the process from there. Okay, so we'll go over to the old computer and we'll select that option. And okay, so here is perform full migration or the limited trial migration. The trial migration demonstrates the concept of transfer your PC by automatically transferring all files of the type you choose, for example, all your Word documents, from your old PC to the new PC. It will not transfer any programs or settings. Okay, so at least, like, I mean, you could kind of see how the program worked. I guess this was available for download or something, or if maybe somebody gave you a copy without giving you their serial number. I don't know, but yeah, so you have a way to kind of try the program out without buying a serial. The only thing, though, is, yeah, is it going to need... Validating your serial number requires internet access. If you don't have internet access, please click no internet access. Which it just tells you to go to another computer and go to this link. Is this company even still in existence? Because we're not going to be able, like, to validate this. It looks like LapLink Software, they are still around. So I guess maybe we can try... And it does want us to put in an email, so, okay. Wait, what? Well, gee, I guess they still have the activation server up for this, what, almost 20-year-old software now? Like, I gotta give props to them for that. I mean, wow. So we're just gonna say over USB cable, ready to start, load snapshot, transfer your PC will now load a snapshot of the new computer in order to determine what needs to be migrated. This should take a few minutes. So we'll say next. Okay, so it's loading the snapshot. Let's see what's happening on the new system. It is taking the snapshot. Okay. So cool. But yeah, so far, I've not been given a list of, like, what do you want to transfer? It sounds like it's just going to do everything, except for all the things that it is not going to migrate, like the antivirus software and the hardware drivers. So yeah, let's just see what happens when it finishes this portion. Maybe it will give us a little bit more information. Okay, here we go. We got something. So it will transfer all of the files, applications, and settings that do not already exist on the new computer. Although most of the time it is not needed, you may wish to customize your migration. If you do so, be very careful when changing from the defaults. So let's do that and see what options we get. So under main, always move wallpaper and screensaver, always move Outlook Express identity and address book, always move MS Word settings, we'll move Internet Explorer settings, do not move IE toolbars, BHOs, browser helper objects, and potential spyware settings. I see, to avoid migrating spyware, it does not migrate. Okay, so troubleshooting, do not move hardware device data, move only files, so if you don't want to move any registry settings, so that's nice. Do not move application files in the Windows directories. Yeah, we'll leave all that unchecked. And then miscellaneous, use startup this. It looks like it will normally set all auto start programs as disabled, and turning this section off will cause auto start programs to start automatically on the new computer. Okay. Merge INI files. You can move accessories, so it normally will not transfer the shortcuts in the accessories part of the programs menu. So that's all of this stuff here. Because, you know, the new computer is going to already have a bunch in there, and same with control panel icons, but you could enable that if you want to. But those are all the settings, so there's nothing specific about, like, what programs, what documents, what files that you want to, you know, choose. Like, you don't get a file browser with a list or anything. But all right, so we're going to just click on next. Ready to start, build moving journal. Transfer your PC will now build the moving journal, during which time it determines exactly what will need to be transferred to the new computer. We will select next. Map users. This list shows each user on the old computer and which user it corresponds to on the new computer. We will keep it as that. The username is the same on both, so that sounds good. Map drives. That is good. And so there we go. It is now building the moving journal, which looks like it's not going to take very long at all. I imagine the new computer is just mirroring... Oh, it's back to connecting. Okay, that's interesting. So I guess we haven't really started the migration yet. Okay, here we go. Ready to transfer. So it gives us a summary. It's going to transfer 11,549 files, 69,018 settings, which all will take up about 2.5 gigabytes of space on the new computer. So we're going to click on Next. It will now transfer the moving van. Okay, so that's what they call it. This could take from several minutes to hours depending on how much must be moved. Select Next to begin. So here's where we're going to be sitting for a while, and just to see on the new computer, yep, it is unloading the van. Okay. And we're done. That took about 35 minutes. It did eventually show up an estimated time remaining counter there. And they're really going with the whole moving van metaphor. So it says, filling the moving van is complete. Okay, so we'll say finish, and I guess we just got to switch over to the new computer, and we'll see what we got going on here. So already, we got some shortcuts on the desktop, and it tells us, congratulations, you've successfully moved into your new machine. It talks about some applications may not be compatible, you might have to reinstall some stuff, and that we have to reboot, so we're going to do just that. And check this out, on restart it did change our desktop wallpaper, because I was wondering about that. It didn't change it immediately, so that's good. And we do have a few more icons on the desktop that did not show up before. And now it comes up with Start Up This, which is one of the things it was talking about before, where you could have it transfer your, basically everything in the startup folder that, that was going to start up with your old computer over to the new one. So you can make changes in here. So we'll run Start Up This to see what that is. So machine run and user run. So the only thing under user is Startup This, and machine run we've got like the Microsoft TV viewer post setup program, which has been disabled. All this has been disabled, of course, because that's how we set it up on the old computer. But yeah, none of this we really need. I mean, I guess we could start up Microsoft Voice and see how that works here under Windows Vista. But like, this is NVIDIA stuff for the old graphics card. This is a registry scan thing, task monitor. We have, so I think we're just going to go with that. We'll hit OK. And you're about to import Windows address book contacts. So we didn't really have any of those, but they've now been imported, I guess. And there we go. So yeah, we've got everything going here, it looks like, under Windows Vista now. Although I do want to go into Documents and check. So we've got the Nintendo browsers in here. We've got our Christmas Word document. It looks like it did. Okay, well, it's coming up with an installer. So we do need to reinstall Microsoft Office 2000 to be able to run that, but we've got the icon here for it. And I'm guessing under Pictures is, yep, look at that. So it copied over the photos, and of course we have just the Vista sample pictures. And under Music, it did not copy the music. Look at that, because this is all just the sample stuff. And yeah, I mean, public maybe? Public music? No, it did not copy that stuff over. Oh wait, I did have contacts. Yeah, that was from the Microsoft phone video. I totally forgot about that. Yeah, so it did transfer my Windows contacts over to just the contacts thing here in Windows Explorer under Vista. So that's awesome. Okay, but yeah, it did not get the music, so that's unfortunate. I'm trying just to kind of go through here. Let's do a star.mp3 search on the drive and just see if maybe they're in some other folder, because they are all MP3s. No items match your search. Alright, well, I guess we got none of them then. But it looks like it got most of our programs. We even have Windows Update, the old Windows Update Manager program. Let's see if this still works. Oh, it's just going to go to the website. So, yeah, but we've got that old icon there, which is kind of cool. We have BOS 5 Personal Edition. And yeah, that's just not going to work. NTVDM is going to crash immediately. But it did transfer the launcher program, which is neat. But yeah, I think it got all of the programs that we had under Windows 98 on the old system. We've got some of the Nintendo web browsers. We have Christmas for Windows. Does this actually work if we launch like stationaries? Yeah, it does. Look at that. And you can open WordPad. And well, that's not going to open up properly, but the actual program itself does, so that's cool. We've got the rest of the Nintendo browsers under the media browser folder, Microsoft Games, yeah, Flight Simulator, Revenge of Arcade. We've got the the RAFnet adapter manager. This was for using the GameCube keyboard controller with Windows. You've got Real Player, that's hilarious. Sierra for Half-Life and Blue Shift. Transfer your PC, of course, we put on here, and under startup we have nothing. So yeah, let's see if well, we've got Netscape as well. Can we launch Netscape Communicator? Yes, we can. Of course, I won't be able to find home.netscape.com, but that's pretty cool. So it transferred that. Google just says update your browser naturally. Let's see if we can open up Half-Life. Oh, yes, we can. Check that out. Although we aren't getting any sound. And I think it just froze because, yeah, the logo is not doing the whole animation. Okay. We might need to run this in compatibility mode or something. Compatibility mode for Windows 98, and we'll run it as an administrator as well. I know Half-Life will need the CD eventually when it does launch, so we can just try to put that in. Alright, so it's been like, I don't know, 15 minutes and we're still here, so I'm just going to go ahead and kill the process again. And I guess we can try out Blue Shift, since, we've got that on here as well. So let me change the CD I've got in the drive. And also let me just hop in here and enable compatibility mode for this. And we'll run this as an administrator, and we'll just try to run this and see what happens. Unable to load function, ft-thunk, kernel32.dll. Okay, so that ain't looking too good. You might have to just reinstall some of these games. Can we run Miss Pac-Man? Okay, complains about the color palette, but it looks like it, yep, it's working. So we can totally, do that once the game actually loads up here. The one thing that's interesting is we're not getting any sound, and I had sound working before we did this transfer. Did it it said it wasn't going to copy over drivers and stuff. So let me just go into sound here. I think, yeah, SoundMax integrated digital audio. Yeah, we're not getting anything. That's actually kind of strange. Well, sound is broken now, but that may not necessarily be because of the program. But I am curious to see, I saw Microsoft Voice up here. Does this work? An error occurred in the speech recognizer. Okay, but it did try to launch there. And then we got Microsoft Call Manager. You think this will work? Oh my gosh, it works. Holy cow. Well, let's see if it crashes or anything. I also don't have the phone hooked up anyway, so it may start complaining about that. But the program did launch, so that's kind of cool. I've also got AOL Instant Messenger, which this is from the Netscape Communicator suite that I installed. So that opens up. Of course, we're not going to be able to sign in or anything. Copied over my NetShare folder, which this was just, a network share that I had on the 98 PC, so I could drag files and stuff over to it. So it copied all that stuff over. I've also got The Sims. Do you think this will run? The Sims has stopped working immediately. Okay, let's try compatibility and run as an administrator. Sims has stopped working. Okay, well, I could put in the disk here just in case it needs that. But I don't think that's the problem. Yeah, that's not the problem. Now, of course, this could be that these programs just don't really work under Windows Vista. I've never tested them before. But, it did at least copy them over. We also have Winamp, which it does. Okay, Winamp works. That's awesome. Also, I'm pretty sure this was the last song I was playing in it under Windows 98. In fact, we can verify that right now. Let me go over here and open up Winamp. Yes, it is. So it did keep that information, which is cool. But yeah, the fact that it didn't transfer our music is kind of a bummer. I know that it was talking about it wasn't going to transfer, certain copyrighted material and, stuff that you would have to purchase a new license for or whatever that it mentioned. So that might be why it didn't really transfer the music. But it did get our photos, it got our documents, which is good. And yeah, overall, a pretty painless experience. But before you went in and, did the hard drive cleanser on your old computer, I would definitely recommend going and making sure that it got everything. Unfortunately, it doesn't present you with a list at the end of it when it finished transferring to let you know everything that it actually did move over. But I guess what we're going to do now is we'll use this drive cleanser program on the 98 PC, but I am going to swap out CF cards because I don't want to overwrite my Windows 98 one. Although, actually, now that I think about it, before we do that, I want to see if this revert option that it was talking about, if it can just do that, without needing the old computer. Let's just open up the transfer your PC software and see. Yeah, undo previous migration. Let's see just what this does. I assume it'll just reset everything back to the way it was before, so we will undo it. And I have the old computer turned off right now, so it's not accessing any files from that. And it looks like this is going to take considerably less time than it did moving everything over. And yeah, check that out. It already removed most of the icons from the desktop. And now it's asking us to reboot, so we'll do that. And we have sound working again. Okay, so I think it did mess up the sound driver somehow. And yeah, we're back. So it does just revert everything to the way it was before. So yeah, I was just wanting to do that before we wiped the drive, just in case we needed the old computer to, like, you know, do the unrestore process, which I don't really see why you would. Although I would have still had this drive anyway, because I'm not actually writing over the exact same CF card. But anyways, whatever. So yeah, let me go ahead and swap over to the 98 PC. We will power this on, and we'll check out the drive wiping process. I am kind of curious if this is just going to be like a rebranded version of an existing tool, or if this is actually like their own thing that they developed. It's a Cronus drive cleanser. Okay, so yeah, that sounds about right. You know, I actually don't think I've ever used this before. I mean, I've used plenty of these like drive cleaning tools, but yeah, I mean, you just go through, you have a very like Luna XP-esque interface here. We're just going to select the drive that we want to erase. And yes, we've selected an active partition. We're going to format it. And here you can choose whatever algorithm you want. We'll just go with the default option. And it tells you what it's going to do. It's going to format. That sounds good. Permanently erase all data. And yeah, so that seems pretty straightforward. And I guess all that's left to do is try and figure out this whole 64-bit compatibility thing. Okay, well, to get to the bottom of this, I installed Windows Vista 64-bit on this computer here, and I think I know why it says it's not compatible with 64-bit machines. It's because when you start the Transfer Your PC software, it will error out with this cannot access driver error that corresponds to the USB cable. So if you plug in the USB cable to a 64-bit machine, it will not be able to install the proper driver for it. However, there are still the other transfer methods in this program that we could theoretically use. I mean, I haven't tried this yet. I was saving that for this video clip here. But if you go through, we can say this is the new computer, and you see that USB and parallel port are grayed out, but we still have using files and over a network. So I've got the 98 PC running, and we're gonna see if we can do this transfer over the network real quick. And let's just say next here, waiting for connection. All right, let me hop over to the other computer. And it tells us to locate our new computer, and it already populated with Vista PC, which is the name of the laptop. So it found that. We're going to say next. And now it's going to load a snapshot of the new computer. Okay. And there we go. And you can see on the new computer here, it's doing the same thing. So it estimates that we have 10 seconds left, or well, just went up to 11, but we are getting there. And well, that has already gone up significantly. I don't even think this progress bar has moved since then. I'm just going to put my mouse cursor like right here so we can kind of see if it still moves. But check that out, it is really lagging too. I mean, look at how slow that the animation is going there. Okay, well, I think I've discovered the problem. On the 98 PC, we're getting a hard disk is full error, and that's probably because the other snapshot from the previous attempt is still on here. So we're going to just stop this process and then see if we can undo it. Okay, I think I found it. It's in the Windows folder under downloaded installations. We have this, and then there's a transferyourpc.ini. and an INI file here, but this doesn't seem very... Yeah, this is only 6.12 megabytes. Maybe it was just running out of space. I mean, yeah, that's what it was doing, but maybe it's already deleted the temporary file that it was trying to create there, and we still didn't have enough space. So let's just try it again. Okay, well, I've been messing around with this for like 2 hours now, and I still can't get anywhere. The same thing happened when I tried to run through this again. The 98 PC eventually just ran out of space, and it does automatically remove the, whatever temporary file that it was saving all that information to, because the hard drive, was pretty much full, and then once I closed the program and waited a little bit, it just went back to, the free space that it had before I started the whole process. But yeah, for some reason, it copies information to the old computer, I guess, so that it can look at that and then figure out what it needs to transfer to the new computer, like what's already on the new computer that it should not transfer and overwrite. But I wasn't getting anywhere with that, so what I'm trying to do here is the file option, where you can save whatever information that it's compiling to a file and then manually copy that over to the old computer and continue the process from there. However, the exact same thing happens. It gets to this point on the progress bar, and then the estimated time remaining just keeps going up, and well, it kind of fluctuates and goes down a little bit, but it will eventually go back up. You can see it just jumped back up a little bit, and now it's slowly climbing down again. And the processed file size just doesn't really fluctuate at all. It's been on 47 megabytes for the past like 20 minutes. So this doesn't really seem to work either. And I mean, it's not like we're running out of disk space on here. We've got a pretty big hard drive, so it's got plenty of space to save, whatever file that it's writing to on the hard drive. And it looks like that this whole thing may be because this computer is 64-bit, because I tried this same process on the same two computers that we just did the USB transfer on, and it worked fine. So yeah, we're not really getting anywhere with this, but it is interesting how it does give us the option for the network transfer and the using files transfer, even though that I guess these aren't supported on 64-bit computers either. And I mean, I guess that is pretty much Transfer Your PC Deluxe version 2.0. So, do I think this would have been worth it? I mean, this software cost $70 at CompUSA, at least this particular version was purchased from there. And that is a pretty high cost, especially when you consider that you could just do this yourself for free by connecting both of these computers to the same network and manually copying everything over, or even using a whole bunch of CDs or a USB flash drive and just going back and forth, or just taking the old hard drive out and putting it into the new computer. But if you had like a laptop where you couldn't just easily put in another internal hard drive, like I could kind of see a use for this, but it just wasn't as customizable as I wanted. I was honestly really disappointed in that, because you saw we couldn't go in and say like, I want to copy this stuff from these folders, I don't want to copy these programs over. It was very limited what you could actually do with it. The other thing is too, you could just, clone your old hard drive over to your new one, and there's plenty of free tools for doing that. The only scenario in which a program like this makes sense to me is if you bought a new computer with a new version of Windows that your current computer can't run, and you want just a one-click solution to transfer everything. And I do admittedly think it is kind of cool to be able to do that from Windows 98 2nd Edition and go directly to Windows Vista. Like, that's kind of why I wanted to make this video. But I would definitely recommend, if you did use a program like this, to double and triple check and make sure that it got all of your data, because as you can see, it did miss some stuff with me here. And there is still software like this around today. Nova Development, the people, I guess, supposedly behind this one, they still exist, but they primarily seem to make like photo and creativity software. But LapLink, whose name you saw when we installed the driver, and they're also mentioned in the user's guide here under the copyright info, they have a piece of software called PC Mover Professional, which costs $60 and pretty much does the exact same thing. So I think that Transfer Your PC was maybe made in collaboration with LapLink. Yeah, either way, this software is still around and you can still buy it. And I mean, I'm guessing, maybe it works the exact same way. Maybe it's a little bit more customizable now. I would certainly hope so. But yeah, that is transferring data from Windows 98 directly to Windows Vista in just a couple of clicks using this Transfer Your PC software. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, definitely be sure to give it a thumbs up, get subscribed, maybe consider becoming a patron or a channel member to get early access to these videos before anybody else. But either way, I just want to thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.